Hello, dear dears. Welcome to self-inquiry. Welcome to the work. The work is a way to identify and to question the thoughts that cause all the suffering in your life, all the suffering in your life, all the suffering in the world. We can't help our thoughts. There's nothing we can do to stop them once they're, like if I say a word, I say the word banana, you just saw a picture of it. Stop that. The egos fight for survival. The egos fight to survive as object. I am, I know, I am. Without any proof whatsoever other than imagination. That must sound like a lot for those of you new to the work. The work is self-inquiry, a way to identify and question the thoughts that cause all the suffering in your life. Lisbeth, honey, you have a question?
Hello.
Hi, Lisbeth.
Hi. Hello. First, thank you. Thank you for being here and teaching us the work. Thank you.
It certainly is a privilege. You know, when you find something that it's just so so amazing, you just have to share it. You have to give it away. That's where the value is.
I like to receive it, so thank you.
Oh, thank you. I just received that. It's so reciprocal. Kinder world, better world.
Yeah. So I have a question. I like to row in a single scull, but I've been doing it for quite some years now, but I noticed that I still have fear that I will fall in the water, fear that I'm not good enough to do the rowing. And especially now I live in Holland, it's cold, the water is also cold. So the fear is a bit bigger, but how can I work on that fear?
Do you fear drowning? What is your, like you don't want to fall in the water. It's
No.
cold.
Yes.
And what is your fear?
Well, the temperature of the water is 4 to 5 degrees when it's really cold. So I will be shocked.
I remember being in Holland this time of year, just several winters and ice on all the canals and all the ice skating and everything. I wouldn't want to fall into that.
No. But I've never fallen into the water. So
what do you fear? Keep going. I fear and fill in the blanks. Like as though you're out rowing. You're rowing.
My biggest fear is that I will fail. Okay. That I will make a mistake and then fall in.
Okay.
Because yeah.
So you're going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Meaning and fall into causing the boat to everyone to fall in the water. Is that it?
No, yeah, I'm in a single scull, so there's no one else in the boat.
Okay.
So it can only be my fault when I fall in.
Okay, so be there now in that boat. Be there now. And you're rowing.
Yes.
Rowing, be there now. You've been there many times. You know what that is. You're rowing.
Yeah.
You're going to make a mistake. Is it true? Keep rowing. Feel your hands on the oars. Feel where you're sitting.
Yeah.
You're going
I've done it so many times, so why would it go wrong? But I'm so scared.
So that's, yeah. So
I'm really scared it will go wrong.
You're going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Can you really know that it's true? You're going to make a mistake.
No.
Okay,
Well,
keep rowing. Well, you can't
you
really.
know, if I don't pay attention, I could bump into something. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to make a mistake. You
Yeah.
won't see that thing in the water and you'll hit it. You're going to make a mistake. So keep rowing.
Yeah.
Look at the water in front of you, doing your job. Okay. Notice how you react. What
Yeah.
happens? Those images of past and future. Keep your hands on the oar. Keep going. Notice those images of past and future in your head when you think the thought, I'll make a mistake and fall
I'm
into.
feeling my body very heavily now. Oh,
Yeah, but
I don't see any images now, but maybe I'm not.
you can't experience that kind of fear without the ego offering up images that match the words for the fear. That's
Yeah.
the
Okay.
illusion of life, that combination.
Well, I think I'm scared that people will say, you see, you can't do it. You're not good enough.
Yeah, so you see those images in your head of those people, even though it's blurry, you hear you experience the words.
Yes, especially my coach. He's quite a strict man, and he means well, but he's very strict. So I'm very scared of doing something wrong.
Yeah, so notice you see images of him, you see images of your coach,
Yeah.
you see those images in your head, and you're rowing.
Yeah.
He's tough, he's hard.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
see an image of you making a mistake in your
Yeah.
head, and you see an image of you falling in the water, and you just keep rowing, keep rowing, keep
And
rowing.
he'll get angry with me.
Get angry with you, and you see
Yeah.
those images of the past where he was angry with someone, and you see
Yeah.
images of the future where he's gonna be angry. I don't have to guess at anything, at any of this, because I have the situation. You're sitting in that boat, you're rowing.
Yeah.
Now, who would you be without those images in your head? Who would you be without the thought, I'll make a mistake? I'll
I
fall
would enjoy it so much.
Okay, so don't guess, do that now.
And I do.
Just drop the thought, look at you. Just silently look at you.
It's great to do. You can
So
float
be
over the
there.
water.
Be there. Look at you. You're a pro.
No,
Huh. You've been doing this a
but I like
long
it.
time. You've been doing this a long time.
Not long. I've been doing it quite a while.
Quite a while. Would you be without the thought, I'll make a mistake?
I would enjoy it
With
every minute, every second.
And honey, I want you to understand those images in your head. Look at that of you making a mistake, falling in the water. Is that you, or are you the one rowing the boat? Know the difference. This is sanity. There's you, the you of your imagination, and then there is you. Rowing the boat and doing really well, as
No
usual.
problem. Just enjoying.
So what is the cause of your suffering? Those images in your head and what you're believing,
Yeah.
or reality? I mean, own it. There's reality.
Yeah.
You're rowing the boat, doing well. And then there's fantasy. The
Yeah.
coach in your head of the past and the coach in your head of the future, and the future of you losing the boat, falling into the water. Yeah. So what is the cause of your fear? Rowing that boat?
No.
Or the ego's mind play in your head?
Yeah.
So the cause of your fear is not the water, not the boat, not you, not any of it. In reality, you're doing well.
Yeah.
And you're up against a fantasy. Seems so real.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's been mad at me before, so
That's your coach.
yeah.
That's your coach. That's how he is.
Yeah.
And come back to attention on the oars. Just thank your ego for sharing, because that coach in your head is not your coach. It's fantasy. Your coach is off having a cup of coffee somewhere. Who knows?
It's because it happened before. I assume it's going to happen again. That's what's happening.
Well, and that's another way of saying you're believing the thoughts in your head as you're rowing your boat.
Yeah.
So now get real. What is fantasy and what is reality?
Yeah.
And notice, who are you without those images running in your head? Look at you. You're competent.
Yes, I'm able. Yeah. Yes.
So what is the cause of your fear and insecurity? Ego play or your ability to row that boat?
No, it's my ego.
You're believing in fantasy. You're attached. That's attachment. You're preferring the ego's play, what it's offering up in your head, to reality. That's one you have no control over. The other is life. Rowing the boat.
It's quite strong.
Well, yeah. If I invite you to imagine biting into a big, fat, juicy lemon, do that now. No, you notice the physical?
Yeah.
That's strong, but that was not a lemon. That is the power of imagination. It is the creator of apparent life. Fear. It's wonderful to have those 4 questions and turnarounds in your life when you're rowing. It's quiet out there other than your head. It's beautiful. It's something you love and enjoy. You just have an addiction. You're addicted to what the ego offers up, as though that was life. But you can't take that coach out of your head and talk to him, because he's imagination running through your head. You'll make a mistake. Is it true? Yes. You just lost the difference between, you've gone into a trance, the ego's trance, as opposed to doing your job out there in that boat. One is life and the other is fear.
So,
you know what, this life for me is about knowing the difference between heaven and hell. Like rowing that boat, that's heaven. Look at that. Look at the water. Look at the sky. Look at you. And then there's fantasy. It's like hell. can be sometimes.
Yeah.
And it costs you your confidence.
Yes.
It's a
It does.
limit. It's a limit.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
limit. I will make a mistake, turned around.
I won't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Wow, this is quite hard to believe.
Well, other than in your thinking, you're making a mistake when you're like attached to fantasy as you're rowing your boat. So now, who would you be without the thought, I'll make a mistake? Just drop
Be
it.
a rower. Just rowing.
Yeah, and look at the sky. Look
Yeah.
at your hands. Look at your arms, the boat,
Yeah.
moving through the water. Presence, present,
Yeah.
present, present. Oop, there's my coach
Feeling.
in my head. Thank you for sharing, ego. Come back. Present.
Okay. Mm.
I'm going to fall in the water and it's cold. Thank you for sharing, ego. Come back to your job.
Mm.
You know, the ego's fight for survival it's a hopeless chase because ego's a state of mind. It's not real.
Okay.
There's life and then there's the ego. And it's only natural, honey, that you'd be attracted to it because, you know, the ego doesn't sleep. The moment you wake, you open your eyes in the morning, it's I'm awake. I need to go to work. I'm late for practice. Thank you, honey. Thank you for your courage.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
Thank you.
And, you know, this world is as we imagine it to be. In other words, what the ego offers up. And I love our time together, community, so we can see the difference between heaven and hell.
I believe so, yeah. And
Fear and
imagine.
air and freedom of mind, and knowing the difference between what is real and what is imagined is, you know, that's Earth School. That's
Mhm.
Earth School, and that frees us up when we know the difference to have an amazing life, a life of giving and sharing and contributing fearlessly. Yeah. Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you.
So, Sophia.
Hi, Katie. Can you hear me?
Hi, Sophia. I can, honey. You have a worksheet?
Yes, I do. First, I just wanted to thank you. I've been doing the work for a couple of weeks, and before then, I watched a few of your interviews, and it was during one of them where I just had the thought, wow, her way of thinking must be so scary to never know what anything around her really is. And then it occurred to me that must be freedom
Yeah.
and reality.
And I don't need to, you know, the reason I can trust reality is it's flawless. It's a gift. You know, I'd love to say if you died and went to heaven, where everything is beautiful and perfect, it's a gift, everything. But the only problem is in heaven, what if you believed in heaven what you believed in earth? Where would you be?
Closer to hell, probably.
Yeah, back to earth again.
I just wanted to thank you. It's been a huge change in my life, for the better.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, so the worksheet I have, I started writing it, or I wrote it yesterday, and I was sitting in number 1, and I just had such a hard time with it. So I've saved it for later.
Okay,
But,
so what is on number 1?
my number 1 is I am disgusted with the man. It's at my workplace. Because he touched me and made me uncomfortable in a situation where I couldn't do anything. So the situation was that I was at my work. I work in a store, and I was the only employee at the time. And I was helping him choose between products. And when we were going to the register, he put his hand on my lower back and patted me a couple times. And I just felt so powerless and sort of, there was another man also at the register, and I was just so stunned. I didn't know what to say, even though I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he made you uncomfortable. He put his hand on your back, and he made you uncomfortable. Is it true? He put his hand on your back, and he made you uncomfortable. Is it true? You know, people in the world would say, yes, it's true. Of course it's true. And I'm just inviting all of you to go deeper. Not to let the man off the hook. That's not okay. This is about the cause of your suffering. So be there now. He's touching your back.
What's coming up is a no.
He made you uncomfortable. So be there now. Use your courage. He's touching your back. Notice in that situation how you reacted. The images the ego offered up of future. And future can be like a nanosecond ahead of where you are as he's touching your back. Future can be years, eons, or just a nanosecond. And that's what we're looking for here, the cause of your fear. So notice the images in your head, the image in your head when he had his hand on your back. What happened in your head? What did you see?
The first thing that came up for me was just causing a scene. Somehow me having misinterpreted him and, having a big reaction or something and making me look bad at my job. Or it's weird, but I also saw me trying to explain to someone why I didn't do anything as well. I'm feeling ashamed of that.
Yeah. So notice that even though he's touching your back, the ego's thoughts are all about you. And what are people going to say? What are they going to think? What are they going to think of me? And then notice how your ego, get really still in this, sweetie. Notice how your ego sees him going further. His hand's on your back. But notice how the ego offers up just that nano secret, that nano future where he's going to do more.
Yes.
Okay, so keep your courage, be there now. And who would you be without the thought, he's making me uncomfortable? So just experience his hand. Look at the man near the register, keep walking. Other than what you're thinking and believing, are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. He makes me uncomfortable, turned around. I make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What do you see? What is it that's making you uncomfortable? Is it his hand on your back? Or is it what you're thinking and believing that the ego is offering up of that nano future in your head?
Even in the moment, I couldn't let go of the situation later, but even then I noticed that there were a few seconds of just surprise where I didn't have my ego didn't have time to label the situation, and I wasn't uncomfortable then. I was just surprised. It was later when I was thinking and picturing myself and what other people were thinking that I was uncomfortable. I think without the thought of it being him that made me uncomfortable, I could still have boundaries and
you
just,
did. You did.
Yeah.
You walked toward the register where there was some potential help there. But what was going on in your head, you know, you're getting there full of fear. But what is the cause of your fear? What he was doing or what you were thinking and believing? God, this is so important. And in no way does it justify anyone putting their hand on your back and making movements, honey. But it's important that you know the cause of your suffering there, what's making you uncomfortable. Why? Because that's where the power is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fear is blind, often. He makes me uncomfortable, I make me uncomfortable. So give me
He
an
doesn't have that power.
So what's frightening you? The images in your head of the next move he's going to make?
Yeah.
Where his hand's going to go, what he's going to do, and how that's going to affect your job. And yeah.
Also, just even though I somewhere feel that it isn't true, I'm still scared that I somehow have led him on or something.
Yeah, and that's running too. How dare you smile? How dare you be cordial? How dare you be you?
Exactly.
So yeah, so your persona is altered. Oh boy, the fear. So what is frightening you? What's running in your head, or the man with his hand on your back?
Just, it's what I'm believing.
Yeah. He makes me uncomfortable, turned around. I make me uncomfortable.
I'm not allowing myself to just feel what I'm feeling. My ego is just offering up so much more than what
There
the
it is.
situation.
There it is. I make me feel uncomfortable when I believe that imagination is life and not the present moment where the man has his hand on my back.
Yeah. I mean, feeling uncomfortable in the situation, there's nothing wrong with that, maybe, but it
No,
ruined the rest of my, a few days afterwards. I just felt so uncomfortable at work.
no, it lingers because you see him in your head and what he could have done, and what he would have done if the man at the register hadn't been there, and all that active ego. He makes me feel uncomfortable. Turned around, they make me feel uncomfortable. Not understanding the difference between the ego's work in your head, that not now future, and reality. He makes me feel uncomfortable. I make him feel uncomfortable. So be there now. I make him feel uncomfortable. What do you see when you ponder that?
The first thing that comes to mind is how right from the start of our interaction, he was a bit too close from what I prefer. And that maybe that to him, as well as then touching my back, might just be how he is. He might, in his world, that might be fine to touch strangers like that.
You know, honey, this is
yeah.
interesting what you're seeing now. You know, some fathers, some men are just fatherly. There's nothing. But I don't get that this is the case, but you're falling into that, and it could be the case. So just close your eyes and be there now. He's touching your back. You look up and see the man at the register, and just keep walking. Other than what you're thinking and believing, are you okay? Is he following you?
Yeah.
And are you okay?
Yes. I was just going to help him pay.
And you helped him pay, and then did he leave?
Yes. It just hurt so much because the poor man at the register, I was so up in all these images that I started being scared of, did I lead the other man on? And how would this man have reacted if I had said something? Would he have supported me or thought I was crazy,
Your head just full of what ifs.
Yeah.
With the images that go with them and all the shame that comes with it. And you start taking all the blame for a man touching your back.
Yeah.
He makes me feel uncomfortable. Turn around. I make me feel uncomfortable. I make him feel uncomfortable. Now just turn around and face him and look at him. I make him feel uncomfortable. Just turn around, look at him.
He looks quite desperate, a bit intense. When he was paying, even though I hadn't said anything earlier, I noticed that he he noticed my body language because he was a lot more reserved.
More reserved when he touched your back.
No, more reserved afterwards when he was paying, and I sort of had shut down and was very, very, I was very, very reserved towards him, and I felt like he noticed that. So in that way, I might have made him uncomfortable after the fact.
He makes me feel uncomfortable. He makes me feel comfortable. Now be at the register. Just look at him. Let's move back to where he was touching your back. Just turn around and look at him without the thought, he makes me uncomfortable. And just silently, just look him in the eye. Without the thought, he makes me feel uncomfortable. You feel your power?
He's just a man. Standing up, in my opinion, a bit too close, but in all other ways, just a man.
Let's look at number 2. In that situation where he's touching your back, what do you want?
I'm just gonna need to. My computer went black.
Just take your time. Okay.
So my number 2 is I want the man to stop touching me and keep his distance. I want him to respect me. I want to feel safe at my workplace.
So how would he know what you want? Turn around, drop your thought. He makes me feel uncomfortable. And read what you just read to us. Say it to him. I want you, Mr. Man.
I want you to stop touching me and keep your distance. I want you to respect me. I want to feel safe at my workplace. Yeah.
Very clear.
Yeah. I had such a hard time in the moment finding any words, which I don't blame myself for, but
no, when we have them, we don't have them. And I so often refer to this work as preventive medicine. We don't have the words, but we do a few of these worksheets. We've got the words. I want you to stop touching me. And I always like to add the word now. I want you to stop touching me now. I want you to keep your distance and respect me. I want to feel safe in my workplace, and I don't feel that when you have your hands on my back without permission. Because so far, the fear you've experienced is the fear of the future the ego was offering up when he was touching your back.
Yeah. And also the things that resemble this, where I felt powerless of my body before, everything was coming.
Yeah, we read and we hear about, some just atrocities. And we want to be wise and stay vigilant. So I love this work exists. If someone ever touches you again, you can just turn, look them in the eye and say, what do you want?
Mm.
And if they say, I want your body, you can say, I understand that, and no.
Yeah.
And mean it. And then they'll do what they do.
Yeah.
But you have done your best. And in your case, good. You walk to the cash register. And
My safe place.
all those thoughts with you, but that was not him terrifying you. That was ego play.
Yeah.
In this situation.
And, yeah.
Let's look at 3. You know, honey, there's another interesting thing here. Be there. He has his hand on your back.
Yeah.
I want him to stop touching me. This is for the curious mind. I don't want him to stop touching me. It's kind of a test of the ego. It takes courage to live that out, but live it out. And you can see what you were really thinking of him. And it could be very different than the fear takeover. I don't want him to stop touching my back, as though he's trustworthy.
Yeah.
And no pretending here. You know, your instincts, is that something you need to get away from, or did you miss something? And either way, you can still walk to the register.
Yeah. The first thing that came to mind was that some part of me felt good in the way that it confirmed a fear I sort of had when I first greeted him, that he was who I thought or who I believed him to be.
Your first impression.
Yeah. And so I felt sort of, I don't know if it's the right English term, but confirmed in what I was thinking. I also in the past I've been very comfortable in a sort of not to this extreme, but in a sort of victim role as well. And he maybe confirmed that for me, where he's doing things to me so I can be upset about it, or
let's look at he's doing things to you, and he's touching your back that that show you that you've got courage and that you can walk. Know that about yourself. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You want him to respect you, is it true? This is so important. We're talking about him. He touched your back. He didn't ask first. I want me to respect me.
Yeah, I don't know what his respect looks like. That might be it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's your job to respect you. We still don't even know about his intentions, but like you take care of yourself. What I love about self-inquiry is we can make decisions that are fearless rather than fearful.
Yeah.
So turn around, look at him again. And just tell him, I want you to stop touching me. I want you to keep your distance. I don't feel safe at my workplace with you touching me without my consent. You feel the peace in that, and he's not coming at you.
Yeah.
People who hurt other people are cowards. Just know that. Let's look at 3.
So the advice I would offer him is the man shouldn't touch strangers in that way. He should respect others' bodies.
Yeah. He, talking about him, he shouldn't touch strangers. Is it true? We can't know his experience, his background. We can't know any of it. We can know what's legal and illegal. And then we have basic rights beyond that. And fear is not, it's not user-friendly. Clarity is user-friendly. He shouldn't touch strangers. Is it true? And we're talking about him, not other men. He shouldn't touch strangers. Is it true?
No, I can't know that. I mean, I don't think he should do it that way, but touching strangers could mean just shaking someone's hand or, you know, a greeting or.
Yeah, and notice what happens when you think the thought he shouldn't touch strangers and he's got his hand on your back.
Yeah. I just feel so I can't find the English word for it, but I feel like everyone's looking at me, or
Yeah,
that point of touch is the center of everyone's attention. Like it's you know, the only thing happening.
yeah, yeah. He shouldn't touch strangers. So experience him touching your back. He should touch strangers. That man, we're looking at reality. I mean, he's doing it. That's reality. He should touch strangers. Why might that be so? This work is tough. It really is for the brave and the bold.
You know, what I saw is just that I can't know his intentions.
Yeah.
And if he was trying to be kind and he then maybe noticed how I reacted, that could have been a lesson for him. So he should have done it to maybe see, find boundaries, maybe.
He shouldn't touch strangers. Turned around, he should. He should touch strangers. Why might that be of benefit to you? Looking over, as you look back at all that that's brought you, the fear, the absence of.
Yeah, it has opened up a lot of things in me. You know, as I've been doing the work, I've periodically maybe struggle to find what to work on, and this was a very clear indication. Yeah, and it later that day I was talking to my coworker about it, and she was able to open up about something to me that she might not have had this not happened. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just the baseline of it being that he did, and I don't see any peace for me in finding reality or that it did happen.
Yeah, and other than what you were thinking and believing, that was so frightening, you know, the ego's doing its job well. You did really well. He should respect other bodies. Is it true?
Yeah.
And how do you react in that situation when you think the thought he should respect other bodies?
I feel disrespected as I am experiencing something I feel the right to not experience.
You know, even if he's a kind old grandfather, it doesn't matter. He should respect others' bodies.
Yeah.
And some kind men that just, you know, have granddaughters and daughters, and they're just, you know, fatherly authentically, still should respect others' bodies, especially stranger. So that man should not, that man should touch strangers, and he should not respect others' bodies. That's who he was. And if he comes in again and there are other people in the store, you might just let him know. Turned around. The other day you checked my back, you touched my back, and I want you to know that in my case, you should not touch me, and you should respect my body. And if you want to touch my back, talk to me first.
Yeah, that would feel good.
Honey, it does. It's, you know, it's rightful language. It's tried and true, and we don't have voices. And this gives you a voice, a fearless voice, even though there's some fear maybe in it. You're on solid ground. And that could be when there are other people in the store as well, even though they don't have to overhear it.
Mm.
Or either way, that would be up to you.
Yep.
Let's look at 4.
For 4, I put, I need the man to leave and stop being near me.
So look around in that situation, look around. To be happy, you need him to leave and stop being near you. Is it true? Look around. Are you safe other than what you're thinking and believing?
Yeah, no, I don't need him to leave.
Well, there you are.
What affected me most started after he left. I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. After the initial shock and fear, the ego just starts doing its job.
Yeah. And it's strange. I think what kept coming up throughout the day was if I let go of it, if I let it just be what it was, then I somehow, or that meant that I somehow said it was okay.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. Yeah. That's why this linkage is so important.
Yeah.
So, so to be happy, I need him to leave and stop being near me. So close your eyes, be there now. He's touching your back. Turn around and just hear these words as though you were saying them. As though you were saying them to him, face him. For me to be happy, I need you to leave now and to stop being near me and to take your hands off of my back and to stop touching me on my back. So imagine facing him and you saying, I need you to leave now. I need you to stop being near me. Did he listen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt as though in our interaction he was maybe testing me to see what he could get away with. And having said that, I don't think he would have continued.
Yeah.
In that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what you need to be happy. We just looked at it. You know what you want in that situation. You have the words for it. You know what advice you want to offer him. You know what you want. You have words to express it. You know, when there are a lot of people that all agree they should do something that is just not your cup of tea at all, and they're your friends and all of that. This gives you language too. It's like, oh, I hear all of you. I hope you enjoy it, and I need to leave now. Notice there's no excuse in it. There's no nothing, and
yeah, I'm currently reading I Need Your Love, Is It True? And just not giving an explanation when it's not necessary. I've been trying it out and it feels really good.
oh, I love that so much. Just hearing that just makes me happy that that book is out.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure to both read and be doing the work. I'm so grateful you put it out for me to enjoy.
Oh, thank you, honey. So to be happy, if you look at number 4, I don't need him to leave. I don't need him to stop being near me. I need me to leave that spot, go to the register, and stop being near him.
Yeah. Yeah, I need me to take care of myself.
Yeah.
Which I did.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And I can't control whatever he decides to do.
No.
But
You know what you want, you can express it. You know what you need to be happy, you can express it, and you have advice for him. Those of you that have had, no matter what the situation, No matter how horrendous it was with the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever. These worksheets, oh, they are so powerful. They'll give you a language. And once you have that, you lose your fear of people. And rightfully so, because they back off. They don't want necessarily people that are not subservient. They're so fearful. And that which was not the case with you. You made it to the register. Let's look at 5. That situation. He is.
In that situation, the man is disgusting, disrespectful, awful, creepy, exploitative, and a bully.
So let's test it. He's disgusting. Look at him. He's disgusting. Is it true?
No. I don't agree with his actions, but he's just a person.
And notice how you react when you think the thought he's disgusting.
Yeah. I just the whole situation just feels, like dirty or filthy.
Yeah. You frighten you, those images of future in your head the ego offers up.
I think just because he was nothing crazy, but he was a bit disheveled, and that just made this sort of like, just filthy. It felt when I was thinking about it.
He's disrespectful. Check it out. Is it true?
Yeah.
The reason we double check all of these, it's a full worksheet, is sometimes we can see now what we couldn't see then because our imagination, our unquestioned thoughts and imagination were running so profusely. We're blind. But sometimes it does match. We're just looking for the truth here. He's disrespectful. Is it true?
Yeah.
And notice how you react. What happens when you think the thought he's disrespectful, he's disgusting. Look at the images of the past running through your head in that situation.
It's just all the times I felt like I wasn't able to control the situation or say no when I wanted to, or
Now look at him without the thought. He's disgusting and disrespectful.
he just looks maybe a bit desperate, but not this villain. I still don't agree with what he's doing, but he doesn't have that power over me.
There you are. There you are. Sanity it's a beautiful thing. And sanity is being present without being attached to those images of past future that are running in our head. That's not to stop them, but to notice it's imagination and to get present. He's a bully. Is it true?
Yeah.
And notice what happens to your head when you think the thought he's a bully. And he's touching your back.
It makes me feel like I don't have anything to say about it.
Powerless.
Yeah.
So be there now without the thought he's a bully. Look at him. Say, I need you to stop being near me. I need you to leave.
He's just, it keeps coming up, but he's just a man.
So all the fear that happened was in your head. And you know something about yourself. You know you have a language for please don't touch me. And looking into his eyes. Try this on. You've obviously got courage in that situation. My thoughts about him were disgusting, disrespectful, awful, exploitive,
In my mind, I was making myself go to even worse situations than the one he put me in.
So your imagination was at work, your ego was at work. And that has nothing to do with him. That's what we're thinking and believing, and it's our responsibility. And we can say the world makes me believe that, but okay, the world makes me believe it, but I can do something about it. I can test what the world is believing. I can test for myself. That's empowering. In that situation, my thoughts were exploitative and a bully.
Yeah. I was really putting myself down in every possible way. I was seeing the scenario where I said something and it went poorly, or where I didn't say something and I was a coward. I really didn't. There was no way for me to act where I wouldn't believe myself in my mind in that moment.
When we look at the thoughts on your worksheet, the thoughts you were thinking, and so that's where our power is stripped. Those what we're thinking and believing create the fear. You know, if someone's going to like stab me with a knife, the terror in my head could be worse than the knife.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and it's good to know the difference. That's where the empowerment is. It's good to know the difference, because you can, it's like jujitsu. It's mental jujitsu. It's if someone's gonna like fire a gun at you, they say, I'm gonna pull the trigger. Imagination has the trigger pulled like if it's aimed at me, imagination, the ego has the trigger pulled before it's pulled. It's already happening. When the bullet hits, it's like late for the party.
Yeah.
And so the power is, where we need the power, we don't have it. But the bullet hits us, we're in reality. And then the ego says, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. So it goes into the future. It's about to lose its object, mind's object, self.
Yeah.
So in that situation, my thoughts about him in that situation are disgusting. So look at his hands on your back, and your thoughts about him are disgusting. See how the ego's making him an enemy? Not right or wrong. It just could be any situation. We're just looking at how the mind works. Disrespectful. You have him like some kind of sex offender, and there's no proof yet. And you have the power now to, I want you to stop touching me. I want you to keep your distance from me. That was your number 2. My thoughts about him were awful.
Yeah.
He frightened me, turned around. My thoughts about him frightened me.
Yeah.
And eventually, honey, as you continue to do your work, eventually, your thoughts they're sane. And sanity for me is the absence of fear.
Yeah.
Let's look at 6. In that situation, what is it you never want to experience again with him?
I don't ever want to be touched when I don't want to. I don't ever want to feel powerless over my own body.
I'm willing to experience.
I'm willing to be touched when I don't want to. I'm willing to feel powerless over my own body.
Okay. So what is number 6 about? It's about if you ever fear that situation again, it's another worksheet. If you're not at home with that thought, then it's another worksheet. I'm willing to be touched where I don't want to be touched and feel powerless over my body. I'm willing to, I look forward to.
I look forward to be touched when I don't want to. I look forward to feel powerless over my own body.
Because that man was your teacher. And by some grace, it's an amazing lesson.
Yeah.
It's an amazing window into yourself and the cause of your fear, without ever justifying that it's okay that someone without your permission touch your back if that offends you.
Yeah. Yeah, I can almost, or it feels a lot more honest to say that I'm looking forward to it, and now feeling like I sort of have the words for it as well.
Yeah, I'm willing to, and I look forward to it happening again in my head, because if I've got unfinished business there, I'm experiencing fear, And so that's another worksheet on the same situation. And oh, sweetie, you are so brave.
Thank you so much.
My goodness. For my part, you're so welcome. You know, this work can give you a freedom in the world that will take you places that other people don't dare go into. How you
Yeah,
do
and so
in this world.
thank you. Thank you so much for this, and yeah, for everything the work has given me. It's truly changed my life.
I'm so happy to hear that. You know, for those of us that have been raped or molested, it's men or women, the horrible thing about it, it's not only what we're thinking and believing during the experience, but the remembering of it. Because it shifts the way we live in the world and the way we see people. And it makes our world small. Fear is the ego's world. You know, if someone says to you, I want to rape you, you might ask them, why might you want to rape me? I'm not suggesting you do that, but that kind of head on, being at home in yourself, it won't be anything clever or tricky or anything. It's just straight up. Why me? It's a discussion. The rapist may prefer to raping again because the guilt of harming another human being is
It allows you to be in the moment as well, and that's the only place where you can do anything.
Yeah, that's
anyway.
where the power is. You've certainly shown that made that clear for us today. Oh boy. Okay, so I look forward to being touched where I don't want to, and to feel powerless over my own body. Because if I'm still upset about that anytime in the future, it's another worksheet. So just to remind all of us that, again, it's not done until it's done. Some of us need more than one worksheet on the same situation because we're more enlightened after working the first one. We're more enlightened when we're filling in the next sheet. So it's like these people in the world that frighten us like that push us to self-inquiry and are really giving us preventive medicine when we sit in what you have just had the courage to sit in. Oh boy, oh dears, honey, your takeaway, any questions and your takeaway and Sophia's courage.
Hi, thank you so much for the session, and my heart goes out to everybody who's here and trying to work through this. Because honestly, while we were doing the session and I was able to work on my sheet while doing it, it's like every time I had to take responsibility, the voice was like, no, they're bad. Why are you taking responsibility? That's unfair. Shouldn't happen to you. And it was so hard to understand and like put that anger aside on someone else and bring it inside and say that it's an illusion. I cannot be angry unless I have anger in me and I'm feeding it. So this whole session was so much about taking responsibility and not putting it out there in the world, because this will repeat in different ways until and unless we take responsibility and, like you said, just be done with it until it's done. So I think that was the biggest takeaway of like every time I took responsibility, I felt anger as if I was being wronged by myself for taking responsibility.
Yeah. Oh, honey, you are open to some kind of miracle there. I'm so happy you raised your hand and that you made it to our session today.
I'm
Wow.
very thankful. Very thankful.
That kind of power you can't buy.
I feel really blessed for having experienced what I experienced to get to this point, because it's different kind of liberation. It's like ego has nowhere to go but to dissolve.
Yeah. Yeah. And when it's a little tough, just move it respectfully from your head to paper, just the way that Sophia did today. And oh boy, honey, thank you for popping in. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. I was feeling very angry while writing it all down, and then with the turnaround, it was like, oh my God. Like it's like when you point one finger, the three point towards you. And I was like, oh my God, this is hitting me more than it would hit me if I was to actually say these things to that person. And I was like, and then all the things came back that this has repeated in the past, but I never really looked at it the way I did today. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. You know, power, living out the, other than what we're thinking and believing, we've got our stuff together. But that ego, it's a
I know.
magic.
Yeah.
My,
I think forgiveness is the biggest thing for yourself, first of all, before others.
yeah, that's the key.
Thank you so much.
Oh, honey, Barbara.
There. Thank you.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
Takeaway today.
My takeaway today is I've had that experience as well, that I've been quiet when I've wanted to say something to someone, and that preventative medicine in question 2, where you just turn around and say, I want you to take your hands off my back now, just blew open my mind. And like, oh, I can believe I'm in my like mid 50s, and it has never occurred to me
Yeah.
I could say that.
Yeah. And if I'm a man and I put my hand on your back and you say nothing because you're so paralyzed with fear or confused, then as that man, how do I know you even have a problem with it?
Yeah.
There's no, but to express, which a language for that, it's on your worksheets. And just the way we saw with Sophia, it gives us a language. And I have so many experiences of this, just, even just turning around and say, what do you want? I'm uncomfortable when you touch my back without permission. What do you want? And then listen. Because usually they don't even know.
It just felt so I feel so excited. It's like, oh, there's words, and I can find my own words. And I've just never seen it as clearly as today. So Sophia, thank you so much for your work, and Katie for bringing it out that way in question 2. It's so empowering.
Yeah. Yeah, we're so fearful. We don't know what we want. These worksheets, they enlighten us. They give us a language. Yeah, and we want to give them advice, like, don't touch my back. I'm not comfortable with that. And a language. Oh, thank you, honey. Thank you for sharing that. Words. Marina.
Hello.
Hello, Marina. Honey, your takeaway.
I don't have a takeaway, but I have a question, if that is okay.
Sure.
I was wondering if, or what is your, if therapy, like how it's common in the world, is itself ego material. What you've, I just had a strange experience. I had this paper from a therapist, like a transfer with a specific diagnosis, but then I felt like, no, I don't agree with this. I ripped it, and then suddenly I felt like I had the experience of regaining discernment and inner space. So I felt like it's all, is it also thought material? Is it ego? Is it, yeah, is that word ego material itself? And wanted to ask you what your view is on that.
You could do the work on, I'm not sure I understand, but you could do a worksheet on that therapist, and you could also open your mind to what the therapist said, and you might have questions for that therapist to define, to say more about what, more on what they mean, if you do, those areas you don't understand. And I'm not sure I understand, honey, but from what I can tell, your therapist wrote what a diagnosis on you that you don't connect with.
Yes, because from my first, I had like 4 years ago an experience of, I will just say it like, call it enlightenment maybe, because I felt like, oh, there's just now and what I believe about myself, and then my path went on, but I also forgot about these things, and then returned to an old cycle. Yeah, and then
Well, this work, when the work found me, I was on the floor, and it was just so clear, the cause of all human suffering, all my suffering, all humanity, all suffering of humanity. And I saw the cause, and I saw how to end it. And that's what I attempt to, that's what I invite the world to, to identify what you're thinking and believing, write it down, and then question it, because there your mind is. On paper, it's stabilized, because the ego will just shift it and do all kinds of stuff with it. But when it's written down, we can just sit, and your therapist could be right, or it could be something you just don't relate to at all. But are you comfortable in your own skin? And for me, it would be good if I was working with a therapist, to work with that therapist, as long as I trusted it and do the work, that combination. And listen closely to that therapist, as long as you're trusting that therapist.
Okay. Yeah.
My therapist might give me a diagnosis that I don't agree with at all, but I'm not going to shut my mind to it, because that therapist could be right. So before I shut anyone down that has that sees me a certain way, I certainly want to check out. Anything less than that could be a kind of denial, but when I check it out, then then I'm checking myself out all the time through these worksheets. And on the floor, when I saw the cause of all suffering and how to end it, I knew, it was just so clear that I don't exist other than what I'm thinking and believing. Just so clear. Just so clear. I had no proof of existence at all. And yet the mind would go, and I noticed it. And that laughter came out of my body like, I get it. I get it. But I knew this, and I can tell you, sweetie, that I also understood that what I discovered belonged to everyone. Not that anyone would see it, work it, understand it at all, but nonetheless, it belonged to everyone. It's the way out of suffering. And I knew that to be with people and pass on this gift, to even speak to a person, would cost me this enlightenment from the floor. But that self-inquiry has always, in that experience of yours, you didn't even exist. It's just enlightened, the enlightened mind. No I. But to be in the human race and know that there's only one person in the world that needs this work, and that it's me. That everyone in the world is as I imagine them to be. And to know the difference between they are really that way. Are they really that way, or what I'm thinking and believing? Where's the fallacy? And, I cannot prove my existence. I'm well aware of my non-existence. I'm well aware that I have never spoken and never will. I am well aware that this world is in me as I believe it to be. And then in this earth school, that kind of understanding and love lived here is it's my world, and you have yours. Each of us, no two people live in the same world. Like if we look at you, and there are all of us together, we have a different, in our own way, a different idea of who you are, how you are, why you are, So if there are 1,000 people on this call, there's 1,000 different yous. You are as we believe you to be, and like for me, if I put it here, I am who people believe me to be. I can never be more or less, but who do I believe me to be, and what is valid and what is not? And the world, my world, is imagined. The question is, do I love it? Do I love my world? So anything my ego sees as out of order is what this work is about.
Does that mean that it does not matter where I go from now? Which direction or decision to take is decision? Does it even matter? Because, yeah.
It matters to you. If it matters to you, it matters. And denial is the last thing that I want to live in.
Okay.
So if someone gives me a misdiagnosis, a diagnosis, and I don't agree with it, I want to go back to that person. Tell me more. You know, this fascinates me. And in the meantime, I'm doing worksheets.
I feel like I gave me that diagnosis.
There it is. Oh my goodness. I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my therapist gives me a diagnosis, and that doesn't even click with me, then I might want to have another discussion and learn more about why she would see me that way, or he.
Yeah, because there's some part maybe that wants to be saved, or I think maybe it's too scary for the human nature to understand this power. I don't know.
Well, you know, human nature is human nature, is inhumane nature. It's the ego's world. But once the ego's understood, for me, that's self-inquiry. Once the ego's understood, which you had that privilege in the enlightenment, but once that's understood, the ego can't touch you. It's simply a state of mind. I respect the ego. I don't do war against the ego. I question it, and we get along fine. We do really well together. Ego's like a terrified child, and what we do every time we fill in a worksheet is we're honoring the ego. We're taking that terrified little ego and allowing it to live on paper where we question it. So we're becoming enlightened to anything that's left that could cause fear in our life. In other words, bring us back into this world of apparent suffering. You know what I love about this world of apparent suffering? It's apparent. That doesn't make it so. And I love that all pain is in the past. What kind of grace is that?
Can I make a further statement? Because as I talk to you, or as I sense or hear you talking, or because this diagnosis is about psychosis, I sense, like, I feel that connection, like I have a physical experience of that, your words, like very strongly, like I don't know how to express that, like if you are as if space from your side is returning. It's interesting. I don't know that I have no it feels so strange to sit here, and then this maybe it all brings us to now only. That then the dynamic of us talking feels unnatural to me. Like in that.
And what's so beautiful about that is it is unnatural because you're in the remembering and not in the present.
Okay.
No proof it's ever been said. Even if I tell you, yeah, I said it, it's up to you to ultimately.
Okay.
To believe me or not, that's yours. and then to believe you or not. So, for you to believe you or not.
Yeah. Or not unnatural. And yes, I understand you. There's an aspect of, but that also feels like imbalance. It's so like as when I shut, or I don't know what it is that non-duality, and then you are speaking, and as soon as you speak, or maybe there's too much past in my perception, there's like this, I have no words for it.
Well, you're just left with no proof. It's like I'm speaking, and if you recall that, that's yours, that's not me.
Okay.
So it will not affect your enlightenment to understand that.
Okay.
Other than to allow you to speak of one world and stay anchored in this gift that you were given. That moment of clarity, to respect it. And be at home in the world of imagination. It's a gift. If you heard me say it's a gift, then your imagination's at play. That's remembering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sweetie. Thank you for your courage and showing up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Marina. Oh, I see a note here. It says, done. Thanks to your you dears are off the charts. I love you so much. I love our time together. Who knows what you're going to come up with next week, but thanks for your contribution. We're here every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time in the States. And thank you all for something beautiful.